this is Sharon Tenen, and I'm here from Help for the Help. And this segment is about resources or things out there that might or might not help you. I'm not the end all be all. Most of what I have learned has been through trial and error, and I've learned from my mistakes. I was a caregiver for over 15 years. My mother had Alzheimer's, and I helped my brother care for her. I went to work for Prime Care Nursing, and I've worked with many elderly patients. And then my father came down with dementia, and he came to live with me for 3 years before he passed. Now, unfortunately, COVID hit not long after Daddy came to live with me, and I lost a lot of resources that were out there because you could no longer go to these facilities. Um, there are programs out there that are back in operation, but the waiting list, there are so many waiting lists. I do want to stress to you about hospice. Hospice is not just for patients that are dying. It is for people that need extra assistance. Now, I would call them in, not at the last minute, but call them in so they can get to know the family when the patient is bedridden, when the patient is getting sicker, when you know that you're going to be on the verge, but you still may have a year or two left, still call and use them. Meals on Wheels I told you about, but a lot of states they have long waiting lists. We'll still get on them. The requisite was that you couldn't go out and buy your own food. There are healthcare organizations, aging agencies for almost every state. Some will take insurance. Some might take Medicare, Medicaid. You have to look those up because it's different from state to state. I also wanted you to know there are lots of books out there on dementia and Alzheimer's. I am posting 3 that I recommend. Now, and mainly because it's 3 that I've read. There was one called The 36-Hour Day, and it's a guide for caring for others. It's a very informative book. The second one is written by Dr. Ruth. It's Dr. Ruth's Guide for the Alzheimer's Caregiver. This I had to go to because someone asked for some advice about an older male parent and his sex drive. And she will cover that because that doesn't always diminish. And then the third one, which is actually the least expensive, was the Dementia Caregiver. It's a paperback book. It's by Mark E. Agronin, and that was a very helpful book. But you can go to Amazon. I did try going to a big book chain, and a lot of what they had seemed so clinical, and I wanted it more down to earth to help me in different situations. There is a lot that I know you can Google, you can go to some professional magazines, and you can get help there. Next, there are a list of movies. I'm going to send about 16. And what I did was I went through these movies. I've watched 6 or 7. I plan to have them all watched by the time I do my next segment. But I went through, and if Alzheimer's or dementia was one of the main conflicts in the movie, then I've listed them. And I, of course, don't know about all of them, but you'll see where I put the movie posters so you can look at them and jot them down and look them up because we can all learn something from them. And a couple are documentaries, the one about Glenn Campbell and the one about Margaret Thatcher, the Prime Minister of England at one time. And so they're very informative, and I think they would help you. last, I want to talk about support groups. You can find so many through your Facebook page. All you have to do is go to your own Facebook page, then go to where it says menu, and then click on groups. Type in dementia caregivers or Alzheimer's caregivers, and you will see a large number of groups. Now, I am a member of the Dementia Caregivers Support Group. Now, some of these you have to be invited to join, and some of them you can just join. But the freedom that you have to ask very specific questions and needs, and they've just been very helpful and will be direct or help you find the resources. There are hundreds and hundreds of people on these sites, and they search for answers, or they've been through this, or they'll provide answers. So I recommend that you check into getting with a support group. And now we're going to finish with the Granddaddy Who story, which is my father. He worked as a tax collector. He worked in the City Hall building of Jacksonville, Florida. And if my mother had to work and for some reason I had to miss school, whether it was a holiday or maybe if I had a cough, something, then every once in a while Daddy would take me to work with him. Now, he worked in the very first floor, bottom floor, and what people come in and pay their taxes, and he would give me things to do, give me an adding machine and paper and stuff to draw on. Well, one day he got a call from the secretary of the mayor. I cannot remember which mayor, but I would have been about 6, maybe 7, and he got a call from his secretary that I had just wandered up to the whatever floor, may have been the top floor, I don't know, and I was standing in the mayor's office. And so, needless to say, he was a little embarrassed, but he did come and get me, and I know I went back another time or two. So, thank you for watching, and if you have some more resources to share, we would love to see them. Thank you.